Hello and good afternoon to you all. Thank you so much for tuning into our Afrelib podcast series. As you all know, this is an offshoot of our Afrelib Twitter Space meeting, and this is our very first episode of the Afrelib podcast series. So at Afrelib, we believe every child has a unique voice, and so we listen for it. And the different ways we do that is by supporting teachers, by supporting parents, by supporting schools, and even the learners themselves, especially leveraging on educational technology. And so, this series, we're looking at exploring the intersection between the girl child and technology, world of technology. So, for this series, we'll be considering the girl child and the world of technology. I am so excited today to have our very first guest on our podcast series. And I'm not just saying that because it's the normal cliche or the phrase that an uncle would say for any conversation or any podcast or interview. Actually mean. And let me tell you why I'm excited. I'm excited because I just got to know some hours back that our guest was actually a student in my high school, in my secondary school. Don't ask me if I knew him then, I did. Because when he graduated, I was actually just 5 years old. So you can know how honored I feel to be having this conversation with him. Thank you so much, Mr. Mustapha. He is the principal of New Horizons College, Mina. Thank you for coming on our podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the honor in inviting me and for making me the first person. I'm honored, and I was excited to meet someone who graduated from the same school, even though a few years back before I graduated. But it's always an honor to meet someone who you went to the same school, whose path you probably never crossed while you were in school, but it is something. Yeah. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this, and I hope to share what little knowledge I know with the viewers listening at home or watching from the internet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, nice. Okay, so, we got talking before now, and one of the things that struck or got my attention was the fact that in your school, I remember asking, do you have like a daily activities when it comes to technology or, some of these stereotypes and inequalities in the use of technology where you say, oh, these activities are just for boys or these activities are just for girls. And it was really exciting to know that not just in technology, but in different subjects, you get to break down that gender barrier. Because for me, getting to know that I have a lot of boys who are interested in a subject like food and nutrition or home management, which wasn't always the norm. For me, it shows that there's really a lot that you are doing even as a school. So just tell me a little bit about yourself, your school, and just before we dive into the meetup.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Mustapha Masud, and I am the principal of New Horizons College. It's a school owned by a religious NGO, and I am the head of schools. We have about 3 schools, and in addition to being the principal, I'm also heading the schools, being director of schools or director of education in the organization. So our late founder, who was married to a Nigerian, was a strong advocate of empowering girls, providing equal opportunity for girls within the sphere of education. And because of that, she did everything possible to encourage female teachers and female students, that they can do whatever they want to be and be whoever they want to be. And that's Aisha Limu, of blessed memory. And so I remember a time where we wanted to start basic tech, or when we wanted to buy equipment for basic tech. And we decided to make it's of the compulsory for the girls, that the girls must participate in the practical activities, in cutting metals, in drilling, in the welding, among other things that we got the girls to do, and they'll put on the gear for the workshop gear before they start, and even after school, because as you know, 40 minutes is not enough and to do practical work, basic technology. So we had girls in that sphere. Also in the field of science, girls were encouraged to join JETS Club. I think it was called JETS. Nowadays in FGC, I think it had a different name. Wasn't JET? JETS it's kind of recent acronym. Junior engineers and technicians and all that. And so she encouraged girls to join the club, participate in the practical science experiments and things that had to do with science. And she will always say that it's not art subject that's for girls. We say girls are supposed to be art students. She said no, and girls can do engineering. Girls can be whatever it is they want to be, so long as they put their minds. So that's the kind of mindset the school had. And we ensured that we kept on encouraging and talking to girls to do engineering, try and do engineering, because it's a stereotype that it's boys, perceived stereotype that it's only boys that should do engineering. So we'll encourage girls to read engineering, any type, whether electrical, whether it's mechanical. And you yourself, like I learned, pleasantly learned that you studied engineering in school. So that's really a very positive thing. And people like you should be at the forefront of talking to girls in schools to encourage them to go into fields like engineering. So more or less that's around my school, that we try to ensure that not just girls, but we also encourage boys to do things like food and nutrition. They cook. Like last week, the boys had a practical session where almost about 20 boys were spread across 3 lab SS2 students, spread across 3 laboratories, and they were cooking. They had a menu after the practical. It was around 6 p.m. I was invited to judge or to assess the cooking of at least 2 boys. And I went and asked one boy, I think it was fried rice, plantain, and a couple of other things that he made, pepper soup and juice or something like that. So I tested and gave them their marks, the 2 boys in question. And so that's the kind of thing we do. We don't stereotype and say this is for girls and this is for boys. I remember many years ago at the beginning, we had very few boys doing homework, food and nutrition homework, and other boys would tease them. So boys didn't want to be caught alive doing food and nutrition, but we will encourage, and from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and today it's normal. Half of the class are actually boys that are doing food and nutrition. So I think we've come a long way in trying to ensure that we break gender stereotypes within the school.
And that's amazing. Seriously, I like the fact that there's that inclusivity and people don't really feel like, oh, this is something that should not be mentioned among boys. And that is really good. So how can the world of technology help with this gender stereotype and empower the girl child? Looking at from your own experience with your school and all of that, how can the world of technology help?
Thank you very much. I think in the West, in Europe and America, they don't have this challenge really. It's we in Africa, and probably in our context as Nigeria, I would say it's mostly in the north. You'll find very few northern girls wanting to go into fields of engineering and technology. And most times their mothers in particular, we tell them that course is not for girls. It's not for girls. I remember my daughter was going to study, wanted to study architecture. The first thing my wife told her, that's not for girls. It's boys that do the kind of thing. You're going to be going in the field, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be interacting. I said, no. I said, no, she can be anything she wants. I said, where is it in the scriptures that it says she can't be an architect, she can't, take on courses that men are doing? I said, that's not fair. And so it's very, very important. We have to address this digital gender divide that we have. And we are the ones as parents, as educators, as schools, as an institution, that we have to start this by providing the girls with equal access, to technology and digital literacy, as well as others, and we can only do this by ensuring that we create the enabling environment for these girls by giving them the skills, and the resources, as well as opportunities that will help them to participate actively in whether in technology, whether in science. And that's very, very important that we do that. And they on their own, if it's going to be left to them, they won't go far and to achieve it. So what you are doing, I'll say it's a very great step to bring awareness, to the girl child and to parents of those girl children who may be, who we may want to use tradition or normal stereotypes to hold them and keep them back from being what they can be, or being the best they can be. So I think in that regard, we can do this by giving them access to education. Now, when we look at where we are today in terms of rural areas, I will say in the cities, we don't have that problem for parents who are very much educated, who are well-to-do, whose parents are civil servants and all that. But for the girl child who is in the villages, in the rural areas, there's a need to create access to education, and whether it's through the technical means or through the digital device, by giving them online access. Like, I think it was one state in Nigeria where the governor, I think it was Osun State, at one time at the beginning of his tenure, he provided tablets for many schools in Osun State, I think, and ordinarily enough, if we were going to leave it to the parents in the villages, there's no way that the parents would afford these devices. So it was a good thing he did. But I think along the way, as we want to do in Nigeria, we don't have good follow-up. We don't have good follow with regard to follow-up systems and building capacity. That project was allowed to die and to flounder. And so in rural areas, giving them tablets, and building capacity for them to use those tablets will be a first step, because you have things like Khan Academy. The girl doesn't have to go to school. I tell you, if a girl in the village can be taught how to use the device, and she's educated, at least she has primary education, and she can read and write and understand English language, I would say basic English language. I think using online teaching schools like Khan Academy and others, a girl can train herself in different type of things. Today with YouTube, people are learning skills. Some people are not going to school. Through YouTube, they're learning skills and using that. Now, if you look at what's happening in these giant companies like Apple, Microsoft, they're not focusing on degrees anymore. It's about what can you do? What skills do you have? So giving those devices to children or female children in the villages and the rural areas, on their own, they can learn to do many things that have to do with technology, with science and things like that, by following online education like Khan Academy and others. I mean, there are many online schools now globally that our female children can access. So that's one way in which we can, ensure that we bridge that gender bias against female students in technology and in science. Another way we can do this is by giving them good representation in technology, encouraging girls to pursue careers in science and technology, like I mentioned, in schools, talking to them through awareness, raising awareness. What are the possibilities? What are the jobs available for them when they graduate from university? And let them know that they also can be engineers. They can be technologists. They can be doctors. They can be whatever, computer programmers. So if we do that, and that's another way where we can get many of them interested, especially for those girls that are in cities, among other things. For those that are in the villages, if we have people going there from time to time as part of the community outreach of many groups who are into this kind of thing, they can actually go to these village and rural areas to talk to girls in those rural schools, about taking up careers in this profession, because if nothing, it will help in bringing their family out of poverty. Because once you educate a girl, you educate the whole community. They are the future. So just one lady you educate can educate 10 boys. If she has 10 boys or 10 girls in her family, she's going to probably be very, very key in ensuring that they get a good education, because she also was given that opportunity and she was educated. So these are two ways in which you can. Then by through mentoring and network, I mentioned that now female NGOs who are into this kind of thing, who are encouraging girls in technology, and they have outreach where they have competition, they have quiz competitions, they have online programs that they do on TV. And so such people you can have such sisters who can actually go on to these schools to talk to these girls and actually serve as mentors. Many ladies who have made it in the field of engineering, in the different fields of engineering, can actually be part of these NGOs, and they can go to girls and say, look, I did it, you also can do this. And they can take under their wing many of these girls and mentor them, especially when it comes to things like industrial attachment. You can actually give those such girls in school access. Look, you can go and do industrial attachment, with my organization or with my company or with my whatever it is. And there you can watch those girls and you mentor them and, show them that, yes, you are. I think the best example is for someone to model what they can be. And that can only be done by people who are accomplished in that field. Like recently I saw that there was a lady who was appointed by the United States government to head, I think, a new group that will be in charge of protecting small businesses. And I think her name is Dr. Professor Aisha Ali Gombe. And she's director of the new cybersecurity. She's director for new cybersecurity in the US. And just a new body that's been opened. And so those kind of people can be used to leverage this idea of modeling for young girls, that you also can be her one day. I mean, there are many other examples like this, both within northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria, that we can use to encourage girls to go into science and technology. Maybe I should just do a semicolon so that I can give you.
No, seriously, I think we can listen on and on and on. There's just so much you said, and I'm really blessed by it. And I was asked, your daughter now an architect?
No, she's just in her second year, because COVID and all that. She's in her second year, and because I remember a very important discussion we had, and when she wanted to read architecture just before COVID, 2019, and she said, "Baba, I want to read architecture, but I have a problem with physics." And I said, how badly do you want to be an architect? I said, what do you have to offer if you're going to be an architect? She said, but I'm very good in drawing. And TD, I'm good at TD. My problem is physics. And I said, life is about what are you ready to sacrifice to achieve your dream? And if there's a stumbling block, are you ready to, back down because of that stumbling? So you get many stumbling blocks in life. And if you back down now, throughout your life, you're going to be backing down. So talking to our children is very, very important, especially our female children. Very, very important to encourage them and make them to believe in themselves that you can do it. It's not to stop you, so.
She's really privileged to have such a patient teacher as a father. Thank you so much. I asked because I'm already making a list, and I think she'll be one female mentor that would be like to work with when she's on with her program to inspire other girls. A lot of girls want to do so much, but they are limited because they don't have the information. And even when we do, there are all these cultural stereotypes that the West just standing in the way and saying you can't do this yourself. So I really like the fact of all that you said, especially in terms of mentoring. We'll have this technology challenge that we do every year. And last year, 2022, the first, second, and third positions were all girls. And I think that's part of what sparked up the interest to talk about the girl child and the world of technology, because we just realized that we have a lot of girls that if given the platform, they would do well. They would do so well. We had them even at our boot camp, and it was amazing how much as girls in the design of blenders and all the different things that we had to on and it's really good. So I believe if we have more mentors, we have people, we're empowering them with gadgets and devices that can make things there. And I'm just hoping that as many leaders are listening, or that will listen to this podcast, the government, every stakeholder, parents, school leaders, and the rest, would take a cue or something you said about having structures and systems in place to sustain whatever project we'll have towards supporting. But possibly should create a structure and you don't have systems in place to sustain it, then you'll start and at some point we'll just, no matter how beautiful the version, just be wondering, oh, why is it? This was something really good. What happened to me? So thank you so much for all those contribution. And we really want to see how we can have these things, these conversations going on. So we're hoping that we'll still have more of these conversations with you, not just now, and all our other guests. So everyone listening, please look out for all the other series. And one last question before we let you go. We're really pleased that you could spare time to be with us and we don't want to take that for granted. So ask one last question. So how can educational institutions and families work together to foster a positive environment that encourages girls to explore and excel in technology? A lot of resistance sometimes because of, well, you're a woman. You should do things that will allow you to have time, things that will allow you to support your husband and all these things. So how can families and schools come together and create a positive environment that allow girls to not be scared, take the step and launch into the world, especially the ones that are really excited about?
Okay, thank you very much. You mentioned very, very important key stakeholders, and which you have mentioned families, institutions, government. I think one way where we will start with the most important institution, which is the government. If government through design of curriculum, because that's where it starts with the curriculum for schools. Now, if for curriculum for schools, government can look at that as a starting point, redesign that curriculum so that it's more hands-on. First and foremost, there's a gender stereotype that girls are not naturally good with their hands. There's that thing that it's boys because of physicality, lifting machines. But in today's world, we're not talking about machines. You have machines that lift machines for you, and all you do is program and execute. So it's what has changed from the Industrial Revolution, where things were just done manually. Now today we have machines doing almost everything. So we don't have that. So if government can look into the curriculum, in designing the curriculum, and also when it comes to giving admission for courses like engineering, and other tech courses, there should be a kind of affirmative action for the girl child, where we can say if the space is meant for admission, for example, in engineering, the faculty of engineering, if there's a space for 100 applicants or candidates, the girls should let it be 50-50. If possible, let the girls be given priority. I remember there was an incident with my daughter, and she scored 260 something for architecture, and that was merit, and the cutoff was 220 for the university she applied for. Somehow, through admin and whatever, her name was omitted on the list that came out. So fortunately enough, I went to see the vice chancellor with all the documents and everything, and he calls the deputy vice chancellor. What happened? How did you miss this girl? And she has a good score. Once she has, and we have a bias for girls that want to read architecture. We said we provide opportunity for girls, especially the girls from the north. We give them opportunities. What happened? Why did you miss this girl? And the deputy said he too doesn't know what happened. So he told me, okay, he said, Madam Mustapha, give me her documents. I just forget to go to sleep. And the rest is history. When she was given the admission, so that's one example of a school that had a conscious effort to give that advantage to the girl child, to ensure, to encourage girls that we want more girls to read architecture. This is the exact words. We want more girls to read architecture. We make that provision. So what's the problem? So that's kind of thing. If universities can do that, to see that girls are given more opportunity in terms of being admitted, and if possible, we're lowering their score, so that to encourage more girls to want to enroll in such courses. Because of whether we like it or that's girls are looked upon strange. I'm sure when you were in school reading engineering, you probably were more than 5 girls in your class. What did you?
The ratio was something else. The ratio of boys to girls was just a big margin. Right.
Yes, I also read engineering, and the ratio of girls, we just had 1 or 2 girls in my class. So when you look at that time, it's funny, but if we do that, I think we will go a long way to encouraging girls by starting from JAM. JAM is always a starting point, especially if children are going to Nigerian universities, to create that environment that girls have a different cutoff mark from boys, and there's a number of spaces, the admission space that are created for girls. I think that it's a very positive beginning in terms of the institution. Then in secondary schools too, in secondary school, we should also, as people who are in that institution, to see how we can motivate female students to want to study such courses through awareness and career days, bringing more female professionals in the field of science and technology to our open days and to our career days to come and talk to those such things. I remember some time ago when we were doing career days, and each time we got more female speakers than men to come to our career days. For example, the former First Lady of Niger State, Dr. Amina Lulu, we invited her to one of our career days where she spoke to our female students about being interested in reading medicine. So these are ways in which you can do it. And lo and behold, I think that thereafter, the set that applied for that year, we had so many of them applying to want to be medical doctors. We had her come in because she's a gynecologist. We had other types of doctors coming who are also female doctors. We had female architects come in to come and talk to these girls and so on and so forth. I think that went a long way in getting many of our female students registered and being interested in architecture. Every year now, when you look at the class of students who do technical drawing, at least you have a sizable number of girls who want to become architects, who actually do TD, technical drawing, because they want to be architects. So it helps that this kind of initiatives, they actually go a long way in encouraging the girl child to go into these fields. I think these are ways we can do that. So these are educational initiatives. Then you can do, we can also do girls in technology initiative web groups. As I think there are a couple of websites where girls are given scholarships, through scholarships to study these courses. You make scholarships available to female students, especially those from poor background. So long as you have good results, you have good results in physics and chemistry and science courses, look, we have these scholarships available for you, to study. And there is no parent who will not want his child to access that kind of scholarship, especially if it's going to lessen the financial burden for me. It means I can spend money on other children if that girl child is taken care of. I said, this scholarship can go a long way in doing this. I think these are some ways in which we can, encourage the girl child to be interested and to go into this field. It's called leveling the playing field. You're leveling the playing field so that the female child can easily go into this field by giving scholarships, among other things, to higher institutions like within the country and also outside the country. I think this is an excellent way to do this. I will just again do semicolon so that I don't monopolize the airtime.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm just looking forward to all the different people who would be listening and saying, oh yes, now I've seen somewhere I can put all these monies into that I've just been thinking about. You can sponsor the girl child, you can create initiatives, you can even partner with organizations like us and any other organization that is trying to support the girl child, just to say that we reach out to as many families that are saying, oh, I have this daughter, she would really want to go for this, or we can't afford it. And that would really be nice. And then the curriculum, we've talked about the curriculum again and again on different programs on our platforms. And I'm very hopeful that the government is listening and that one of these days they would take a very deliberate and intentional step towards revisiting the curriculum just to find ways to make it more practical and more hands-on, such that people are acquiring skills and not just, having knowledge pushed down their throat, but they can actually say, oh, I can do this, I can do that. When you talked about girls cutting and welding, that lady becomes a mom who become a role model because she's not running out every time there's a broken chair or every time there's something, but she just picks it up, and then the boys are saying, I want to bring her from me. She's so resourceful. I want to emulate her. Really be nice. Children tend to look up to both parents, of course, but moms have very close relationship with their children, even most parents. So it would be nice if they're empowered to support and raise their children in their children's. Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure having you. Just before we go, that girl child who is listening to you now and say, just like you advised your daughter and say this, you have to say to them just before.
I think it's very important for the girl child to know that she can be anything she wants. It's important for her to have a dream, and that dream should not be tied to any man. That my career is to get married. Getting married is a good thing, but in today's world, no man wants a liability, no man wants a burden. This is the young men that we're getting today. They don't want liability, they don't want burden. So you can help yourself, by, developing yourself, equipping yourself with the skills, that will help you to go to thrive, and help your community and help even your family, your parents. So it's important for you to dream and dream big. You can do anything you want to be. You can be whoever you want to be, so long as you put your mind to it. And I'm a very, very strong advocate of prayers. You do your part, then you pray to God to help you to reach the goal you want to. Because in everything, you need an element of luck. And it's God that brings that element of luck into your life. And it could be scholarships, that's a luck, or the right connection, the right people. It's all life is about connections, the right connections, and you'll go find this life. So believe and dream, and the sky will be your beginning of your limit.
Thank you so much, sir. You see why I was excited at the beginning to have Mr. Masood as a guest. Thank you so much again for coming. This has been our Afrelib podcast series on the girl child and the world of technology. And with me on this very interesting conversation has been Mr. Mustapha Masood, the principal of New Horizons College, Mina. Thank you so much again. And see you on our next episode. Thank you, sir. So everyone, we look forward to having you on our next episode. Advert and publicity to that effect will be shared on all our social media platforms. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of it.